Hello, 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 everyone. My goodness, two shows in one day. That is something that I normally don't do. Hello, Lisa. Hey, Kamari. Hey, JM. Hey, Jules. Hey, Misty. So, if you saw the video this morning on this channel, I saw this video about how kids aren't getting graded anymore. And I've been going crazy looking at different articles and everything, and it's a thing. It's a movement. There is a school in Illinois, in Chicago, where the students are encouraged to talk back to the teachers, where they can teach the class. What the hell is up with that? In Los Angeles, instead of consumer math, they are teaching children about the welfare system. Explain to me why you would teach a kid who doesn't even have a high school diploma about the welfare system as if it's a checking account. God forbid you teach them about how to apply for a job, how to get into trade school, but this is about how to maneuver social services in this country. It's ridiculous. And we can see what's going on. Hell, I can see it on other channels. Because if we are subservient to the government, we're easy to control. If you're as dumb as a box of rocks, nobody can tell you which way is up and which way is down. Y'all said communism. Yeah, there you go, man. When you cut off education, you are cutting off a big thing. And without public schools doing their jobs, which our property taxes pay for, kids are at a disability because they can't get into better schools, college, trade school, whatever they want to do. They're limited. Now trust me, the kids that have parents with money, they're going to make sure they have the honors classes, they get the grades, and they can go to Harvard, Yale, Vassar, you name it. This is insane. All right, so athletics is totally different. Athletics is still judged on your athletic ability. Some of these schools, okay, right now it's California, Illinois, and New York. They will take the class collectively and grade on a curve, and everyone gets the same grade. How does that happen? Lisa said, when I taught sixth grade, I got in trouble for discussing 9/11 because they weren't alive when it happened. Isn't that insane? Yeah. That is insane. That is absolutely insane. Absolutely insane. So when I was in school, that's been a while back, you were encouraged to take as many accelerated classes as you could because they're college prep courses. And then it makes it easier when you go to college because you're going to be in English 101 with a class of 200 people. So you're going to have to learn how to maneuver. Now people say, oh, we should have smaller classrooms and everyone should get a hug. No, they should pray, say the fucking Pledge of Allegiance, and do their goddamn job. They should be prepared for the real world because in the real world, there are winners. There are people who do better. And those people are rewarded with money, promotions, what we see. That's what happens. And it's ridiculous. Look at this with me. What is going on is crazy. How can you say that even though you're the smartest kid in class, you're going to get the same grade as everyone else? How can you say you're not the smartest kid in class, but you studied the hardest, but you're going to get the same grade as the kid that didn't try? 1 Hour Drive Floor says, how come the Gannon Staunch trial isn't on today? The judge has something else going on Thursdays. Wiz said, it's not equality, it's servitude to the government. You do what they say and stay in your lane. That's not the real world. No, it's not. You want to be dependent on the government, you're going to have that's what you're going to have. That's crazy. Look at this with me.
We don't have to have grades. Research shows that grades have 3 effects. 1, they make students less interested in whatever they're learning for a grade. 2, they become less likely to pick something more difficult. After all, if the point is to get an A, you're going to choose the shortest book or the easiest project because that makes it more likely you'll get the A. And 3, when students are graded, they tend to do things in a more shallow or superficial fashion. They're less likely to really push and reflect and more likely to say, do we have to know this? Is this going to be on the test? That's why the best schools do not grade students, and the best teachers do everything in their power to help students forget that grades exist. And
no, idiot. It's called teaching them responsibility. If you get an A, well, you got an A. If you get an F, you failed. You have to strive for a certain achievement. Now we're erasing history, okay? They're not allowed to talk about Pearl Harbor in certain school districts because they're saying that America picked on the Japanese. It's not allowed to be discussed. Okay. Crazy story. My grandfather was very old school. He said when my parents got married and they were all about having a checkbook and getting a credit card, he said, when you get rid of money, you've gotten rid of currency. So, of course, you very rarely see cash around here. It is what it is. I can't do anything about that. But what is going on in these schools is insane. Trev said, in the school I worked in, I saw the drop firsthand. It's sad. It is. Yeah, it is. Encouraging kids, give the kid that didn't practice all week, give them the ball so they feel included. Gotta be kidding me.
Sometimes let students pick their own grades. So we live in a society now where people don't get it. They ignore this research and they use grades to compel students to do stuff that they understandably have little interest in doing. If I'm a teacher and I don't have the skill to authentically engage students in science or history or literature, then I have to fall back on bribes and threats to make them do it. And that's what grades are about, not assessment, not a necessary way of reporting results. They're about coercion. And when students get caught up in this trap, arguing about or worried about tenths of a point on their GPA.
Help me here. Grades, Wiz said, it helps their self-esteem to be praised for good work. They're working towards an achievement. I got this grade, I studied hard, and look what I got. And you should let the kids pick their own grade. Well, what are they going to do when they're out of high school? They'll get out of high school. Hell, everyone's going to be valedictorian. What are they going to do when they get out and they go to an employer and they say, oh, I want to pick my paycheck? And Mr. Corporation goes, "Oh, you already did. You're making minimum wage. That's all you get because you're dumb. You're dumb AF." This is insane. And there's 3 states that are doing this right now, and it's going to spread. It's going to spread and spread. Pick your paycheck, everybody. What do you want? Oh, I'll take your paycheck, Mr. Bossman. How about that? I'll take the same pay as you. Mr. Bossman's going to go, "But my wife can't have plastic surgery if I give you my paycheck. And then she won't give me the goodies on my birthday." That's what's going to happen. That's insane.
Then they're going to make bad choices about which courses to take and how to allocate their time. I think it is true that students who, for all of their career, have been told, "This is going to be on the midterm, folks," or "You better listen up. This counts for your grade," get the idea that that's the reason to do stuff, is to get a grade, and don't bother doing stuff that isn't graded. It would be amazing if students were immune to that constant drumbeat. But the reality is, every time they think in terms of what am I going to do for a grade, they lose something as people and as learners. And so a teacher who has any sense of integrity and commitment to learning is going to spend most of his or her career trying to help students overcome this addiction, not just by telling them, "Forget about the grade," but by making grades less and less relevant and important.
No kid is addicted to grades. They seriously want to get the best grade possible so they can go to the next grade. So their peers aren't picking on them, going, "Oh my God, you in 3rd grade again? Damn, we're all going to middle school and you're still back there learning your ABCs? Gotta be kidding me." At this point, high school will go on until the nursing home. This is insane. I put the link up. This is ridiculous.
So that the natural desire to do stuff that really provides a sense of satisfaction can be rediscovered by students who sometimes have forgotten what gives them pleasure. I think that's critical. Otherwise, you have a bunch of grade grubbers, and I don't blame the students for that. I blame the adults who told them that this is the reason to do stuff. I hear from students all the time who have finally shaken free of this and said, "Screw it. What I am sacrificing my entire high school career in search of the almighty A here. The result is I'm cutting corners ethically by cheating, and I'm not being true to myself."
Okay. Instead of learning how to change a tire or balance a checkbook, they have classes that's called How to Be True to Yourself. Now, this is insane. You're going to like this, okay? Now, I don't know about you guys, but when I was a kid, I did whatever I could get away with, to be quite honest. There are classes on how to deal with your parents. This is a thing. Slim said, "Who is this idiot?" This idiot is actually, he is teaching school districts in New York how to lead a classroom. Let the children teach you. We learn from children. Yes, you can. My children taught me they were Power Rangers. My children taught me that there was dinosaurs in the backyard. Good Lord, my children taught me a lot of stuff, and I went along with everything they said, but they still had to do their schoolwork. Absolutely crazy. These kids are bored. They're bored. They're not challenged. They don't ever have to get an old Sears box out of the garage and your dad's spray paint that would kill you and make a diorama at 9 o'clock at night because you didn't tell your mom about it to do it for you. This guy is crazy.
I forget that I even really liked photography or whatever. I didn't sign up for it because it doesn't give me an extra point. I'm not going to do that anymore. This is now going to be about learning. It's not going to be about chasing a grade. And in fact, we can look at schools, including some high schools in the US, that have gotten rid of grades. And those students are not only a lot happier, they're a lot better prepared for careers and for college, precisely because they've spent their high school years sampling, exploring, discovering, figuring stuff out without worrying all the time, what is this going to mean for my GPA? So we have not just good theory, but good practice to show that the abolition of grades would do nothing but good. It would only make life more complicated for bad teachers who would now have no lever to compel kids to do stuff that doesn't make sense to do in the first place.
He's right. It doesn't make sense because they haven't been taught what makes sense. That's the whole issue with learning. You have to learn. So now everything's watered down. It's basically you're in fifth grade learning first grade work, or you're in seventh grade learning fifth grade work. So everyone gets a chance. How does this make sense? And this is the future of the country. They're making it easier and easier and easier to handpick who they want to excel. That's how it looks to me. If I lived in any of these school districts, and I can tell you right now the ones that they're choosing, I would be at every school board meeting and I would say, bring back the paddle you have to sign after you get your ass whipped. What are you doing teaching kids about how to get social services? This is a thing in New York right now. They're teaching children about the welfare system. Why would you teach them that? That is a crutch if you need it. And if you have to have it for your entire life, God bless you. But it's not a lifestyle. Nobody wants to be disabled. Nobody wants to be hurt. Shep said, so schools are giving participation trophies as grades now, pretty much. Yes. Jules said, have y'all ever had that paddle? Hello, Glenjamin. I'm going to put the link up and see what everyone thinks about this because I am fired up. I tell you what, my daughter-in-law, soon to be daughter-in-law, okay? She's in medical school. She graduates next month. And even when she graduates as a medical doctor, an MD, it's extremely competitive to work on people. She can't just, if she doesn't pass the next phase of how to deal with people, because let's face it, book smart people don't know how to deal with human beings. That's a true thing. Then they have to go to the research field or the insurance field or something like that. Let's see what Trev has to say. Hello, Trev.
Hello.
What do you think about this new situation?
It's insane. And it's like the pandemic is a lot of this started after the pandemic, and it was like that put a big hit on education. A lot of people a lot of kids fell behind simply because there was no school, and if it was online. You could half do it, walk your way through. So it came back out, and I feel like the education system had two options there. It was either do what it needed to do to get kids caught back up, or apparently whatever the heck they were doing that they're starting to do now with this insanity of dumbing everything down. I mean, not everyone is built for high-level classes or wants to take those kind of classes, but you don't you shouldn't water it down to even that out. There's no need for that.
If I was a high school teacher, I would say field trip, and I would take all of my students out, and I would tell everyone, I'm going to give you $5. We're going to go to the closest store. Everyone with that $5 is going to buy all the essentials they need for 1 week. They're going to figure out real quick they can't. All right, so you got what you got. Now I'm going to put you under a bridge because that's what you're destined for if you don't try.
Facts.
Well, I wouldn't be a good teacher. That's the reason they would never hire me, Trev.
I mean, but that's how it is. That's the truth to it. And it's like, and this whole teaching kids about the welfare system. I mean, obviously that's dependency. So who funds these schools and decides who decides what goes into it? It's the government. They fund it, so they get to decide what goes into it. So they say you do this because they control that. And how do they easily control you the rest of the way after you make it out of school? Because when you get out of school, that's your freest time. You're an adult, you can do whatever you want. But if you lock into the system, they can continue to control you. And it's like they've got that on you, because if they're giving you money or funding what you're doing, they can control how it goes.
100%. In Amsterdam, New York, they actually, instead of teaching consumer math, they are teaching kids what to do if you become disabled. Who just becomes disabled? They're teaching kids how to get food stamps. They will tell them, for one person, you will get this much. If you have a family of 12, you'll get this much. It's crazy. And like Jules said, do it in cursive. There's a reason we had to learn cursive. Do you know cursive, Trevor?
They stopped teaching cursive when I was in, I think, 2nd grade.
I'll teach you. It's simple. You just get drunk and write with your left hand.
There we go.
But here's the whole thing. Why? Glenjamin said, what grade this seems off? This is a 10th grade in Amsterdam, New York. And why would you teach a high school student how to apply for benefits when they haven't even had a shot at a job?
It's just, again, it's this whole idea of turning safety nets into safety plans, into a regular plan. These systems are supposed to be a safety net, to where if you fall on hard times or something happens unexpected, that you have this, so you don't just become a homeless person and die. I mean, I'm just putting it the way it is. They have these systems in place for you to fall on if you need them, not for you to decide that's going to be your career. Like, what do you want to be when you grow up? On welfare? Like, that's not a thing. Or it's not supposed to be a thing.
What are you going to do all day? Well, I got $97 in food stamps, so I guess I'm going to eat $97 worth of banquet preservative food meals. I mean,
yeah.
$97 worth of chicken pot pies?
Frozen pizzas from Dollar General? I mean.
Glenjamin said, how about to apply for a job, resumes, applying for college, learning how to, there's a lot of things you can learn. I mean, my goodness gracious. And when I say left-handed, it's because I am not left-handed. And the whole reason behind learning cursive writing is so we can understand the original documents, which are the Declaration of Independence, the Bill of Rights, and the Constitution. Some people can't read cursive writing. This is insane. And Aggie says, I make my grandchildren do cursive. Good for you, Aggie. You're a good grandma. You are. This is in this whole situation I cannot figure out. They should have shop in school, consumer math. I was at the post office the other day, mailing out some merchandise, because I make great stuff. Don't I, Trev?
100%. I have your
Amazing.
magnet on the fridge.
Yeah, thank you very much. That took a lot of hot glue, Trev. I appreciate your support. I'm at the post office and there's a girl in front of me, and I felt really bad for her. She didn't know how to address an envelope. She said, "Well, where do I put it?" She goes, "No, it's got to go to this person." And that's what they told me to do, is what she said. She didn't know. How would she not know how to address a damn envelope?
It's a good question.
I'll tell you what. This is crazy. All right, look at this one right here. I'm glad everyone is here. I understand this is not the most exciting subject, but it's got to be discussed. And damn, I couldn't imagine. I couldn't imagine my kids in school right now. Trev, I'm sure your parents gave the teachers some hell. Like, why are you not teaching them anything?
Yeah, I mean, it's just crazy, and a lot of parents don't even know. That's what another thing the pandemic did, is when everybody got online, parents started really seeing what the heck was going on in schools, and got upset about it, rightfully, because usually you don't see it. You don't get to see what's in the classroom.
They should. And here's the whole thing. The people that are preaching about no grades and let the kids teach you and let them get into photography. Okay, there's not no. There's not a lot of Ansel Adams walking around the high school, all right? And there's a ton of money to be made online. We know that. And develop those gifts, whatever you can do. Teach them. This is 2023. Teach them this is how people make money now. Don't teach them about welfare. They're going to, trust me, they'll figure it out if they need it. But the people that are putting this in their heads are educated people.
Mhm.
How does that make sense? These people all went to college. They were graded hard, but they're saying we don't need grades. We don't need teachers. We can just let the students be the teacher.
And you kill off opportunities of success. You're only hurting the children, but you're framing it as it's easy, so they're like, well, of course I'll do that. But then when it comes time to go to college or make a career, and a lot of people have high aspirations. You want to do things, something you love. You want to do big things. And if your education was dumbed down for 12 years, when it comes time to do that, your opportunities are limited. You won't have the ability to go out and do those things. It's a lot harder.
Well, you can't. And for one reason, when you go to work and you say, "Hey, I was just in school and I got to pick my grade. So now I'm here and my grandma got me work boots, so I'm going to pick my salary, right? Isn't that how it works?" And they go, "No. Only job you can start at the top is a ditch digger. You got to work your way up."
Yeah.
That's how it goes. Angela said, "I was shocked when they changed math. Why? There was no reason." I want to know why they took phonics away. I want to know why Common Core is there. I want to know why kids don't learn history. There's a lot of things I want to know. And I also want to know, and I'm really not judging because I understand people are busy. People have a lot of things going on. Why aren't these parents at every school board meeting going, "Have you seen what you guys are teaching here? This has got to stop, or I'll move out of this county and you guys will have less money."
And when parents did that, you saw the way they were framed. Parents are called domestic terrorists for standing up at the school board meetings against these things.
It's absolutely crazy. And now they're all mad because I guess you have grown men dressed as mermaids that go to libraries and stuff and read storybooks. And they're like, "Well, people have dressed in drag forever." And I'm like, Yeah, I mean, sure. If you go to the opera, if you go to a play or something like that, Santa Claus, Easter Bunny. I mean, Santa Claus and Easter Bunny is the only reason that my kids were ever scared. But if you have some furry ass 50-year-old man dressed as a fish wanting to read to your kids, shouldn't you ask the furry man dressed as a fish, why do you want to be around kids so much?
Yeah.
Or just leave the people alone that say, no, I'm not doing that. No, I'm not doing that. That's just, I don't get it. I just don't get it. Okay, look at this one. You're going to like this one too.
As deeply as we all are committed to equity in the way that we design our curriculum and in our pedagogy, many of us inadvertently are undermining that because we are using grading practices that are traditional and actually end up perpetuating achievement and opportunity gaps.
We're all here taking care of kids, and some of the grading practices that we've had in the past aren't doing that. They're actually reiterating kind of the achievement gap amongst our students.
There are ways to grade more equitably, more accurately, resistant to bias, and more motivational that can actually counteract many of the traditional practices and align our equity work with our grading. Our grading practices are vestiges of the Industrial Revolution when we were trying to sort kids, we were trying to control them and manage behavior, and we weren't trying to educate every child. By continuing to use those traditional practices, we are punishing students who have fewer resources and have been historically underserved, and we're rewarding kids who have more resources. And what we want to do is have our grading practices align with the reason why we went into this work, which is to counteract those historical inequities and give every kid a chance.
So do it. But because kids come from a poor home or a rich home, they still sit in a classroom with the same teacher. I understand that some kids get home from school and their parents don't work with them. Parents, they're on the phone, they're cooking dinner, and they're like, do your homework, whatever, your teacher will take care of it. I get that. I get that. So when you see a child struggling, it's your job as a teacher, and I would never want to be a teacher. Never, 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 because I would take them all home with me. Then you spend time with the ones that are struggling and the ones that are doing good. You celebrate them all the same. I shouldn't say the same. You can't shame a child, but how am I trying to say this so I don't sound like a total asshole? Of course, the child that knocks it out of the park. You did a great job. This is wonderful. You put that child in front of the class, and that child gets the self-esteem that they deserve. Now, the kids that aren't keeping up, then you have to spend more time with them, but you don't say, hey, I got to be over in the corner with the kids that, aren't getting it. I don't know the proper balance for that. But when you say no one's getting a grade, everyone gets the same grade, that makes no sense to me.
There's one part of that he said there that really frustrates me. So you have this idea that you have students, obviously you fill up one classroom of kids and they're all going to come from different places. There are plenty of kids that will come from underprivileged households.
Mhm.
But
That's horrible. And
it
that
is
horrible.
But there's a way to equal that out, and it's not by dumbing it down. The amount of money that we spend on stupid stuff could easily be used to make sure that these kids all go home with a meal. They all have all of the resources they need. They have a pencil, a notebook, a backpack, whether their parents can afford one or not. They have a meal to take home, whether they're going to have one or not without it. But instead of meeting their needs, we're dumbing it down and still leaving those needs, and it makes no sense.
Like Rexy said, then how do you know every kid is learning? You don't. I agree, Rexy. I know they changed the grading system one time. Instead of 100 to 93 was an A, They put it down to 90. 100 to 90 was an A. And that's one thing, you can drop the percentage a little bit. And I mean, that helped, and they lowered the curriculum. And then they proved that if you have more children in a classroom, they are more competitive. And they will look for that attention. They will look for it. But they're taking all that away. They want like 5 kids to a class and everyone sits on a round table with the teacher while she does the work for them.
Yeah.
Crazy.
And that competition does exist. It's real. When I was a kid, especially in elementary school, I mean, there's a lot of things I can't do and couldn't do. But one thing I was really good at was school, and especially math. That was something I was always so good at. I was always near the top of the scores and everything. So I always was competitive with that. We had this program, Accelerated Math. It matched Accelerated Reading, which is used a lot more. But you do math, you learn the topic, you take the little quiz, and if you get a good enough grade, you get like a sticker, reward, or something, and you try to get through all of them. So I always tried to be at the top, like go through the most that I could in my class. And some kids in the class couldn't keep up with that. So we were in different spots. But I would have missed out on being able to push myself to do so much better and keep at the top if we didn't have that. If I didn't have the option of outdoing other people just by not outdoing them, but, pushing myself to do the best I could, but leaving that gap. If they got rid of that, I wouldn't have been able to push myself and probably wouldn't have learned as much.
See, and you're a great example. What about the kids that actually do pay attention? They do learn, they have reading comprehension, they can do their work, and they're bored because there's other kids that can't keep up. They need to be stimulated, they need to be pushed, and they need these honors classes, which are now going away. Glenjamin said this has been going on for a while. I see young folks come into the workforce and demand respect and think they should get promotions every 6 months. A career is a grind. You are exactly right. What I can't get over, and we have it, at where I work, people they don't understand that a work day is 8 hours. So after about 2 hours, you're like, what time do we go home? And I'm like, you should be asking for more work. Not to go home after 2 hours. Are you kidding me? Well, when do I get a raise? A raise? You didn't get your paycheck yet.
Yeah. But then places are feeding into that as well. You go by and you see McDonald's now paying $15 an hour. And then it's like, I worked once I was old enough as a teenager when I was in high school to work, I worked in childcare. So I worked after school with elementary age kids, and then I worked in summer camp. And during the summer, I wanted 40 hours. I worked full time during the summer for those 2 months and a few weeks. I worked 40-hour weeks or more. If not, I pushed into overtime, and I did that every year. And that was just something I did. I didn't go, I mean, I enjoyed the larger paychecks, but not once was I like, man, I worked 40 hours this week. You should give me a raise. Or, wow, look at me. Like, that just felt normal. That's what I enjoyed, my work, and I enjoyed pushing myself to work a full schedule because I could. And it's just like, we lose that when you're like, well, here's $18 an hour to work in McDonald's on a 6-hour shift. You work twice a week. So you work 12 hours, you're going to get 15. Like, you eliminate that work ethic. And when we lose a work ethic, we lose good workers, and then we lose people that want to make careers out of their life.
And there is a big difference between a career and a job. That's one thing that also needs to be taught in school. And every source of income is important. But do you want to be respected or told you have to show up? And like you said, the work ethic is not being instilled. Ava said, I feel like my child is being punished for being competitive, getting good grades. She got in trouble for bragging about her grades last week. She's 10, and I want her to be proud of her hard work. And that's how she should be. She should be proud of her hard work. She should be like, I got all A's, or I got 3 A's and a B, or whatever. She should be. But this, everyone's getting the same grade, is ridiculous. No. No, 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 no. The government can't be your daddy. We had a situation in chat yesterday about Gannon Stotch, and I don't know who it was, and they said something about, well, then you have to get your kids counseling. The government will make you. And I'm like, what? You can't take care of your own home. They're gonna make you? Make you I mean, they're gonna make you? Nah, 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 nah. Just Me said it started with trophies. Yeah, well, my kids always liked getting the bigger trophy. It was a weird thing. Trev Time said an A for me was 93 to 100, and then Tennessee changed it. Yep. Rexy said the government wants to be your daddy. And that's the biggest problem. And I don't think a lot of people, they don't get it. When you let the government in your home, they have control of everything.
Right. And that's, people aren't seeing this is intentional. Like, this is calculated for them. It's not like, oh, they're being nice and the only downfall is we have to rely on the, no, they're doing this so you rely on them, because once they get you locked into that, unless you're going to walk your way out of it, they're going to have a say over what you do. If they're giving you money, they can say you have to do this, this, and this, or your money can only go to this, this, and this. They can decide that. And it's up to you if you're going to let them do that, or if you're going to go make your own money and decide I can buy whatever the heck I want with it and I can do what I want with my life.
Yeah. You know what? I was such a shit kid. In 4th grade, there was this one girl and she won everything. I'm telling you what she did. And I knew her parents were doing the work. She got 1st place in something. I stole her ribbon. I took it home. I lied to my parents and say, oh, look, I won 1st place. Of course, my parents are confused because they knew I wasn't that talented. So they went to the school and they said, did Brooks get 1st place? Because that bitch can't draw. And they were like, no, Jill did. And she's been looking for her ribbon. They brought me to the school. I had to apologize to her and do the walk of shame for like a week.
Geez, now they would have just took her ribbon and copied it in the printer and given you the copy.
And I remembered that. Trust me, I did. But nowadays, no, that won't happen. Absolutely ridiculous, these people.
The current way that we're grading, kind of overarchingly, they're not motivational, right? They're not motivating kids to think about how they want to learn and what they want to learn next and push themselves into new areas. Instead, they stifle that learning. Grades treat students like they are commodities, and we treat grades like they're commodities. So instead of thinking about students as an A or a B student, we're really trying to focus on the whole child.
So the grade really should be based solely on the student's level of academic mastery. How well do they know the subject? How well do they know the content and skills and standards? And not include extraneous information like, did they do their homework, or are they bringing their notebook to class, and are they doing extra credit, and are they raising their hand? Because all those things are susceptible to our own implicit biases, where we are judging and maybe misperceiving whether or not students are learning. And instead, we want to be focused only on have they learned the material and at what level. So in addition to not including student behaviors in a grade, ways that we can make grading more equitable is to be more transparent and explicit with what our expectations are. Many times, teachers in their head know what an A quality essay is, or a A quality answer to understanding the quadratic equation. But what we want to do is be so explicit with students that they don't have to just try and earn points. And that explicitness for students makes it more accessible. It gives them more agency and more trust in the teacher, because now it's not the student who's trying to please the teacher all the time. It's the teacher and the student are on the same page trying to hit some external target.
What that means for educators and administrators actually is that we actually have to unlearn a lot of the things that we learned about ourselves being graded when we were younger and how we've been grading since we've become educators, right? In that space, I would say that I am even susceptible to.
These people have PhDs. What the hell is going on here? And this is what it's becoming. Rexy said this is total bull crap. Yes, it is. It is. Now, I don't know about you. A friend of mine, she has grandkids, and she will invite me to Christmas concerts and things like that. I'm like, oh, no. I'm not going to go to any of that mess. I'll send, $5 and you can stop at Brahms and get an ice cream cone after, that type of thing. Yeah, I'm not going to go to all that. But what we have is everyone sings the same. Everyone's art is beautiful. Everyone's math works out. Everyone reads just the same, but some people read a little slower. What is going on here?
Did you hear what he said about the implicit biases, where he said that we need to stop checking off if a kid brings their notebook, if they complete their homework, if they raise their hand? So what you're saying is we should eliminate all signs of responsibility for kids, so when they get to the real world, they have no idea what responsibility is and they fall flat on their face.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Because that's what that is. Bringing your notebook to school is not anything else. It's not, there's no bias to it. It's not being mean. It's not seeing how much money your kid has. It's a notebook. If they bring that notebook to school, it shows that they have the responsibility to bring it. And they're going to forget it every now and then, just like people are late to work every now and then. But they have to check off that they brought it, and there's consequences if they go so long without bringing it. Raising their hand in class. If you don't have your kids raise your hands, those children are going to do what they want when they want, and you have no control of your classroom.
Yeah, you're exactly right. And like Rexy said, I wouldn't want one of those type of kids doing surgery on me. Think about that. This is the future. I wouldn't want one of these people that, and it's no fault of their own, to be quite honest, that are in these school districts in California, Illinois, and New York, changing a tire for me. I wouldn't want it. I just wouldn't want it. I mean, God forbid, when they become doctors, there's no structure. Rexy, you're right. There's no structure. There's a reason we have the school systems that we have. So you learn how to socialize with other people, and you're told, here's the standard, and this is what you have to do. And if your home life affects it, then we have counselors that will work with you on that. The minorities running the majority. The inmates are running the asylum, and it's dangerous. It's dangerous to our country. I'm going to listen to that again. Hang on.
So the grade really should be based solely on the student's level of academic mastery. How well do they know the subject? How well do they know the content and skills and standards? And not include extraneous information like, did they do their homework, or are they bringing their notebook to class, and are they doing extra credit, and are they raising their hand? Because all those things are susceptible to our own implicit biases, where we are judging and maybe misperceiving whether or not students are learning, and instead we want to be focused only on have they learned the material and at what level. So in addition to not including student behaviors in a grade, ways that we can make grading more equitable is to be more transparent and explicit with what our expectations are. Many times teachers in their head know what an A quality essay is, or a quality answer to understanding the quadratic equation. But what we want to do is be so explicit with students that they don't have to just try and earn points. And that explicitness for students makes it more accessible. It gives them more agency and more trust in the teacher, because now it's not the student who's trying to please the teacher all the time. It's the teacher and the student are on the same page trying to hit some external target.
What that means for educators and administrators actually is that we actually have to unlearn a lot of the things that we learned about ourselves being graded when we were younger, and how we've been grading since we've become educators, right? In that space, we I would say that I am even susceptible to being I call it the point fairy. At the end of the term, you think about like which kids have been working really hard but may not have performed as well as you believe they could have, and then all of a sudden you sprinkle little points on, and that C goes to a B, because you're trying to make a kid feel better and you're trying to motivate them, but what you're doing is motivating them extrinsically instead of intrinsically. So a lot of it's going to be challenging our own notions of what grading is, and being okay with being uncomfortable about unlearning the things that we knew and learning and thinking about ways to grade students in a way that truly shows what they can do. Kind of anecdotally, I changed a grading practice that I did, and all of a sudden my classroom was less stressful. Kids seemed to be a little bit more happy coming to class. They were excited about the content because they weren't so worried about a grade being dropped upon them. They were looking forward to earning into that space.
I think it requires courageous leaders of a school to normalize a conversation about grading. Right now, it's very difficult to broach that topic among teachers and administrators because of power dynamics and really unfamiliarity with even talking about it. So I think they need to find ways to begin the conversation with articles or books or videos, and some way to start normalizing and targeting that this is actually important enough and underdeveloped in our work together that it's worth taking the time and worth the uncomfortableness that this is going to bring.
You're asking somebody to stop doing something that they've been doing or has been done to them even for their whole educational career. And that's uncomfortable, and that's going to make people have to rethink a lot of what they have been doing and what they will do moving forward. So it's going to take time. It's going to take some tough conversations. But like Joe said, some courageous leaders, I think, could really push this along. We're not trying to do what's nice, which grading is nice. It's easy. We can kind of make it fit into these boxes. Instead, we're trying to do what's right. We know this is the right way to do things. We know what's wrong. We know why past practices can be harmful to students. And now we need to do what's right, which is rethinking how we grade students and moving forward in a world that can be a lot more equitable.
Insane. Elkhart, Illinois. This happened in April of 2022. A school counselor suggested to a girl, 11-year-old girl, that she might have been a boy. She might actually be a boy, even though she's a girl. This child, okay, I'm going to get graphic here. She got her monthly. She looked on the internet as to what was going on because that's how damn dumb her parents are. She asked the same counselor, but I looked on the computer and only girls can get their monthly. And the counselor in Elkhart, Illinois said, no, boys can have that too. No. Let me pick someone out. Greg's in the room. Greg, have you ever had a period? Greg is shaking his head no. Trevor, I don't want to put you on the spot. Shep, Jim, Glenjamin. No.
Yeah, that's a no for me. But look at that. Look how crazy that is. So they'll tell a kid what gender they should be, but they won't make them do their homework. They don't feel like they have the right to tell them to do their homework, but they have the right to tell them that they're actually a boy.
If any of my boys had gotten a period, I would have called the National Enquirer and we would have been rich as fuck. I'd have been like, you wouldn't believe this. Yeah, that doesn't happen. So when this girl approaches the counselor that she's been confiding in, and the counselor says, well, you're really a boy. And she's like, yeah, I know. I like football and I like to play Hot Wheels with my brother. Oh, well, then you're really a boy. Then she goes to the counselor and she's like, well, I don't know what's going on here, but I looked online. And she's like, oh, yeah, you're menstruating, but boys can do that too. No, they can't.
No. If I started bleeding, I would run to the hospital.
Uh-huh. Uh-huh. I'm telling you right now, if Greg got his period right now, I'd call the Tulsa world. We'd be famous.
Yeah.
Why would you do this to kids when they get to an older age and they're like, hey, you know what? I just don't want whatever they do when they're older. That's up to them when they're adults. But my God. So then when the parents approached the counselor, she gave them a pamphlet to a doctor that will give this girl hormones to stop her menstruating.
Yeah, I'd be giving that school board a pamphlet of how many minutes they have to fire that counselor.
The counselor is now the principal.
Yeah. Well,
Yeah.
I mean, look, that's what that's what academics have become. Look at, without being political, look at the last Supreme Court justice to be nominated. She was on there talking about she can't define a woman. Then you have other people going up and testifying in the biggest house of politics or the biggest house of government we have in our country, saying that men can get pregnant.
Mhm.
And saying that they can't define a woman. Did you see what happened with Stanford Law School a few days ago?
No, what happened?
So they invited a federal judge to come speak. And I'm not sure what exactly he spoke on, but it was a speech that he was invited to give to the law school. And their equity dean and a bunch of the students protested, including the staff, being the dean, came and protested it. And they announced that they're not going to be hiring any law clerks from Stanford Law School. So these students are missing out. They're so far into politics of their education that they're now losing on these experiences because these people are getting tired of it. This judge was invited there, and then he was shamed and attacked verbally there because of the speech he gave.
Wow.
And now those students, none of them will be able to go work there as a law clerk because that's what their school did. And the school supported it. The dean was there in support of it. And that's why the judges were so upset.
Gotta be kidding me. Rexy said, I do actually know a person who is both sexes, born that way. And that is true. That does happen. To this young girl, that's not what happened. And I don't know why this adult was telling her, well, you could be a boy. I don't know. I don't understand what's going on. My youngest son told me all the time he was a dinosaur. Okay, he did. This was a thing.
Yep.
And I went along with it because that's the way that he would eat. He would act like he was a T-Rex. He would put his hands back into his armpits like a T-Rex. And that's my failed parenting. That's what I did. I'm like, there you go, T-Rex. You can eat, right? Kind of like, Allie using the toilet. She has very short arms. And sometimes Scott would tell me that his dinosaur friends were outside. And I would go outside and say, oh my gosh, I better get the binoculars. I don't see them. And so that phase, it petered out. And he wasn't a dinosaur anymore. He grew out of it. I certainly didn't say, Scott, you're going to go to dinosaur school. Did anyone here go to dinosaur school?
I just missed the cut.
Okay, well, it was a thing. It was a thing. And this whole situation is crazy. I cannot believe what they're doing. Go ahead, Trev.
Sorry, I was gonna say I had a kid at work that was like 5 and she acted like a cat. She meowed, she tried to purr, she pretended she was a cat. But I didn't sit down before her parents came to pick her up and say, okay, so you're going to be a cat for the rest of your life. And, like, this is not I mean, it sounds dumb, but it's like it's what they're doing. Like, it just makes no sense.
It makes no sense. My kids were also Power Rangers. One of my sons thought he could fly, and he jumped out of a tree right in front of me, and I had to take him to the hospital and get him stitched up. He swore he could fly, and I was like, "Get your ass out of that tree." I mean, what is the world coming to? Mary said, "Love that story about your little boy. My son liked dinosaurs too." Scott still does. He does. He loves dinosaurs. He loves them. Still to this day. And every now and then I will remind him, you used to be a dinosaur. And he's like, "Mom, I was a little kid then. Don't bring that up in front of my girlfriend." Rexy said, "I played horse as a kid, but I didn't think I was one." No, 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 no. All right, so look at this with me, and then I'm going to cut everyone loose because I'm too fired up. This is ridiculous. I cannot believe this.
For more one-size-fits-all in the name of racial equity. I know that word again. One Los Angeles area school district is doing it to, quote, level the playing field, close quote, but parents aren't buying it. And while this equity push is taking center stage, more and more students are falling behind across this country. Listen to this. In Baltimore, 23 schools in Baltimore, the district there, have 0 students proficient in math, 0. And dozens of Chicago school systems claim no students are proficient in math or reading. Tragic. Here now for more on this and how to fix it, internist and dictionary specialist, our good friend, Dr. Drew. Dr. Drew, always great to see you.
Brian, how to fix it? You're putting a lot on my plate.
You live in this area.
I do live there, the People's Republic of California.
So-
And Culver City is a place I broadcasted out of for years.
You're probably one of those kids that you studied a lot or it came easy and you needed classes that challenged you. Not anymore.
Not only that, my friend, I would argue that while I had certain intellectual abilities, I was somewhat lazy. And it wasn't until I was challenged by competing with people who were truly brilliant and being stuck in those classes, and it changed my life. And then going to a college where that was the basic principle upon which they operated. But what I don't understand is I ask this question all the time: where are we going? What is the plan? It has never been the case that you bring one group up by bringing another group down. That doesn't work. Where do we go from here? And why equity uber alles? Uber alles. A little pragmatism would tell us that, hey, why don't we take these kids and bring them up as opposed to taking a group down?
They're saying the percentage of Asian kids who are in that honors class is much higher than the other minority kids or the other white kids. So there's too many Asians doing well. That's what hurt them in getting into Ivy League school. They had to sue. Mm-hmm. And we know where that's in the Supreme Court right now. Mm-hmm. So what do you do if one ethnic group is doing better than the other?
Maybe you look at how they're doing it, and there are immigrants. But one of the most vocal groups in Culver City are the immigrant population, who are saying we came here to have a better life for our kids, and you're literally going to pull them down. When immigrants get here and succeed, there's a very set of specific principles that repetitively work in this country. A sense of some special purpose. Your family comes here to give you a better life. 2, delayed gratification, and 3, focus on education. Focus on it. So what's going to happen here, people are going to flee these schools, and it's going to increase the inequity between people who are left behind in these schools that are lagging and people that go somewhere else, including the internet, to get their education.
And that's where it is. If you keep messing around in these schools, these parents that are good parents, and there's a lot of great parents out there. There's a lot of them. There's more good parents than bad parents. Thank goodness. They will move out of these school districts and say, screw it. They'll move out of state. And then next thing you know, you have a class of kids that are being taught how to get on welfare, as opposed to the kids that say, I want to be challenged. Or the parents that are like, I'm going to be there on Tuesday night for the school board meeting because this is not going to fly with me. Elkhart, Illinois is about to get it because you can't suggest to kids they're a different gender. What would make you think that? What would make you think that as an educated professional that it's okay to suggest to a growing child they are a wrong gender? I don't get it. When that child, let's say in 100 years, for some reason, they have to exhume that child's body, they're going to find things that say that that child was this sex when that child was born. I don't get it, Trev. I don't get it.
Well, I said something really quick, but I realized I was talking to myself because I was muted. But
I do it all the time.
I was just saying that these people are sick. I mean, to be able to sit there and just decide that you could say this. I mean, the education stuff, I just think is stupid. Like the dumbing down of it. But when you get into this like gender stuff, I think some people are actually just like sick. Like who just can sit down with a kid and have that conversation with them and think oh, in their head it's okay.
Yeah. Mike, I mean, Charleston, South Carolina. I'm not South Carolina, North Carolina. They are having conversations with kids about what gender are you really? I don't get it. I don't get it. What they do when they are grown people and they want to take hormones and things like that, that's up to them. That girl said, this is not the place of a school employee. No, it's not. And a school employee is a damn government employee, and our property taxes pay it. They pay it. I tell you what, I used to love school board meetings. That was my jam. I brought the sandwiches and everything. Hold them accountable. And I'm not lying because we have a great school board. We had a great school. But you know, the more people that show up, the more they are accountable.
Oh yeah, we got a superintendent fired here.
What happened?
Well, so we have a really good school system, school board, same way. But this guy was hired from the superintendent we had, the school system I went to, left. He moved to like Memphis or something to teach or to run a school. So they hired this guy. They used this agency to hire him. Well, he had a fake PhD. He bought it. He bought it from overseas, and as like the students and the people in the community found out, and he bought it in coin collecting. I wish I was joking.
I love that shit.
He was a doctorate in numismatics. There was like numismatic something, and it was coin studies or like coin counting is what it is. So he bought a PhD and decided instead of getting it in something like normal, it would be in coin counting. So everybody's like, you have a fake PhD. It's in coin counting. And then on top of that, he was making like rude remarks behind closed doors, borderline racist remarks about the construction project going on at the school. And he got himself run out.
That is one thing about the cycle of life is the trash does take itself out. When you just said that reminded me of early on in Summer's case, and we don't really do true crime on this channel, but I have to bring it up, is when Don said he tried to get into the Army, but they wouldn't let him in because his IQ is too big. That was his words. His IQ was too big.
Yeah, I believe it. So that's how they do things there.
You know, Albert Einstein said that imagination is more important than intelligence. And I mean, sure it is. But you can't imagine a paycheck. Now, remember, Albert Einstein didn't know his address.
Right.
He had to write everything down because he would forget it. Now, he's a genius on many levels, don't get me wrong. Good Lord, I couldn't sit with him without some serious smelling salts. But no, this is insane. Just Me said, some of the administrators make hundreds of thousands and teachers make squat. And that is true. That is true. You have administrators that are making 6 figures, and you have teachers making 30, 40, 50,000 a year. Yet they are told this is your curriculum. They're almost like CPS workers. Like a CPS worker goes to a home and they're like, I see hot water, I see a roof, I see lights on. That's all I can do. And that's what our teachers are limited to. The joy of being a teacher is gone. My cousin is a superintendent in Bristow, Oklahoma, and she said it's harder and harder and harder. And that is because of curriculums that come down. And that's a very sad thing.
They've made it so structured and regimented. There's no freedom as a teacher anymore. You're basically a robot. Teacher that I had in elementary school, I got the pleasure of working with her for like her last year of teaching because I went back and worked at the school, and she was telling me she was retiring. This is her last year there. She's retiring, and part of it is because it's just too much now. The way she taught 20 years ago, and the way she even taught me was she had a lot more flexibility. You had to teach this, but you could do it how you want. Now it's like basically you read out of a book what you have to teach. I mean, it's like so regimented.
I'm surprised they have books. I really am, because I think I agree with Dr. Drew, and I agree with different politicians that are speaking out right now. And they're saying that social media, screen time is going to be looked at like tobacco soon, because it has stunted the growth of America's youth.
Yep.
When I was growing up, my grandparents always said, oh, don't let the TV be the babysitter. And then when my kids were growing up, my father would say, oh, you can't let them be on that game box all the time.
Yeah.
And now it's the cell phone. Well, what a lot of parents don't know, or they refuse to recognize, is on that cell phone, there are some nasty, nasty people, and they can access the world with that cell phone.
Yeah.
They can access anything. They can look up anything they want. Hell, they can dox their own teacher if they want.
Yeah.
They can walk into school and say, hey, everybody, look what I found. Miss Marshall here got a DUI in 2006. We can't listen to her.
Yeah.
Miss Marshall got divorced. Lala said, a private school here in Mobile, the soccer coach who taught Bible study was just charged with lewd acts with a minor, 16 years old. See? Sickos.
Virginia had a counselor, I believe it was, that was RSO, and they were the registered sex offender, and they were on staff for a certain amount of time, and it came out and it went like national news, because I mean, how do you actively hire someone like that? I don't care what kind of education or qualifications they have. If they're on that registry, you don't hire them to work with kids.
Yeah. That girl says people will move into areas that the school system listens and structures according to majorities. Strong schools should be parents' number priority. I agree. Your school is your community. It is. Because most of the kids are going to live in that community. They're not going to move off. They're going to be right there. They're going to be grounded to that school.
Right.
Now,
The stuff you learn, but it's also the people you meet. Where did most of kids' friends come from? From school.
Mm-hmm. Now, when I was in school, okay, now this has been a while ago. I'm 47. We had a very strict dress code, okay? I would walk into school, and I used to like different clothes, just like all kids push it, okay? We had a principal. His name was Cleve Kinnear, grown man, and he would get his wallet out. He would pull out a $1 bill, and he would measure your skirt to your knee. And if it was too short, you would go to his office and you would call your parents up, and they would have to come pick you up, take you home, and put on appropriate clothes for school. You will never hear of that in 2023. If any school principal pulled out a dollar bill and measured a girl's skirt and said, call your parents and go home and put on appropriate clothes, the world would shut down. There would be a GoFundMe for that girl.
Yeah.
The Kardashians would send her a closet full of clothes. That's what it's become.
Morgan & Morgan would file a lawsuit.
Yeah, I know. It is insane. It is insane. Rexy said, exactly. Just me said, that's how it was. Yes, ma'am. Yeah. And if your parents can't dress you, then they can come pick you up, take you home, put you in appropriate clothes, and you come back to school. The only time you can wear a short skirt or something is if you're a cheerleader or a pom-pom girl, and you can wear it on Friday for game days. Other than that, no. You keep your shit covered up.
And just to your point, says my daughter, who is a sophomore, says it's not working. She's been in honors her whole life, and now she's getting an A++ in her English class, and she's not being challenged. She says it's a joke. It is not working. So it's not fair.
How could it? That's the thing about so many. I'm sensitive to the desire to have equity. I get it. But the human reality, pragmatic reality tells us this is going to end up bad for, well, particularly for the kids that they're so concerned about. Those are the kids, in my mind, are going to suffer the most.
Something else is happening in schools, and that's bullying. We're seeing the video just about everywhere, and it couldn't be more heartbreaking. At a time when social media bullying is skyrocketing, you got a new study showing that proving teens who spend less time online have better mental health. But when it comes to bullying, look at what's going on right now. And a lot of people feel as though this is pandemic related. You could roll some of it in. These kids are getting beat up in school, beat up on the bus. One resulted in a suicide in New Jersey, and they post this online, which makes it exponentially worse. When you're seeing this, are you...
Okay, the suicide in New Jersey has got to be addressed. That kid was bullied so bad via social media by his peers, he killed himself. That's the reason I'm happy that legislators are putting things in place saying if the parents won't do it, I'm going to do it. If your child is 16 and under and they're screwing around on the Snapchat, on the TikTok, on the Facebook, which I don't use Facebook anymore, on any of these platforms, we've got your IP address and you're going to go to jail.
Yeah.
What do you think about that, Trev? What chat, what do you think about that? What do you think about legislators getting in line saying, if the parents won't do it, we're going to do it because we have your IP address?
Absolutely. And I mean, these things are crimes. When you are a kid, when you are bullying someone to the point that they do that to themselves, you are beyond just picking on somebody. You're committing a crime. And somebody needs to be held accountable because this kid took his life. And to get to that point, you have to be pushed to the extreme. I mean, the farthest of the extreme and then some. So for them to have done all of that, knowing that it was hurting him that bad, that's willful. That's criminal. I mean, that's beyond just being a stupid kid. And these parents don't stop and be like, well, my kid's posting this video of a fight. That's okay. Where's the parent to say, delete that right now?
Rexy, I agree. She said, that's scary though, letting government take over your life. You're right. They have everyone's IP address because we have a cell phone. We have a laptop. We have a computer. We have a Wi-Fi account. So that they do. So that in itself, they have traction on us. It's 1984. It's Orson Welles. We know that. So if a parent says, oh yeah, you can go ahead and use the TikTok for a little bit. And your kid, while you're taking a bath, is bullying another kid, and then you're in trouble. Would you risk it? I don't know. It's crazy.
And I do think legislatively, I think these social media companies need to be also held more accountable and regulated because they allow these things in turn because they get more use on their program. Like Snapchat, for example. I mean, obviously you have the main thing, which is disappearing messages. You can say something and it automatically goes away, at least visibly. But they also have what they call the Snap Map, which is anybody that's on there that turns on their map, you can see where they are on the map. And now you can actually click where they are and just get directions right to where they are.
Oh, wow.
So if you leave your map on and somebody adds you that's, a predator, or adds your child that's a predator, and they see where they are, they can find exact address of where they are just by clicking that map, completely using the app, not doing anything beyond that. Just using the app, clicking where they are, it'll take you right to where they are if they have that map on. And sometimes it'll turn on when you first get the app, and if you don't go in and change it, it'll be on there. And that's dangerous, but that's being allowed by the app maker, not by anybody else. We're not doing anything secretive to do that. That's just a feature of the app, which is insane to me.
And then I look at, okay, to get monetized on YouTube, you have to show Google AdSense your identity. Okay, so you send them a picture of your government issued identification, front and back. You send that digitally, okay? And what's on your driver's license has to match your house address. So if you didn't change your ID, you don't get monetized. But you can't go forward on YouTube if you're not an AdSense partner. They will do nothing for you. They will not recommend your channel. They will do nothing for you. And that's a true story. They're still going to run ads, but on the back end. All right, so then you get a letter in the mail, and it's got a PIN number, and it goes to your house. So they know exactly where you live, because IP addresses can change, right? People change locations. And you get it, and you punch in that number. Dangerous. I get it, but it is safe. So if your kids want the TikTok, if they want the Snapchat, then do the same safety measures. I don't know. What do you think?
I agree to an extent. I mean, not to what you said. I agree with what you said, but I agree that they should have that ability to an extent. It's just you have to be careful about how far that you give that rope, because once you give it, they're gonna pull. I mean, once you go out, it'll never go back in. It'll only go farther out.
I agree.
So it's like we saw that during the pandemic with government control of different states operate differently. Like the state you and I live in operated a lot differently. The states that you and I live in operated differently than like California did with COVID rules, right?
Mm-hmm.
So it showed the government had very different ability and decisions made. And it's like when you give that power over this kind of stuff, they're only going to go farther with it.
And that's true. I'll tell you a funny story about the pandemic. All right. So I was out with my husband. He owns a truck, and we have trucks, and we drive around the country. All right. He has a CDL. We were in a place called Coachella, California. Gorgeous place. Don't get me wrong. People were walking. I mean, you could almost measure them 6 feet apart. It was crazy. They had what looked like welding masks on. That was one thing. On their local news, they were having a meltdown because the furries couldn't see each other at the local skate park. I thought it was like a group of people that got together with their dogs. No, these are grown people that put on animal costumes and go hang out with each other. Now, my state was shut down for about 6 weeks. And I was watching this, and I'm like, is COVID still a thing? They're worried about grown people that wear animal costumes? Does anyone in here wear an animal costume or go to furry conventions? I'll still love you.
Not I.
Okay. They go to hotels like with no water in the pool and they skateboard in there. And you have to be like a rabbit or a fox to be like the top of the furry chain. It's a weird thing. I researched all of it. Angel said no. Still said no. No. Yeah. Got okay. JM says nope. Nope. Gaelic said Halloween. There you go. That's what happens. Man. You cannot go through life dressed as a fucking rabbit. Lord. Alex Erickson, thank you for being here. Glenjamin said, nope, they have Q's conventions though. I don't get it, but they seem to enjoy it. Yeah, they have holes cut out in the poop chute, Glenjamin, where the furries have sex with each other and never see anyone's face. It's a weird thing.
How did we move to the furries?
And like they skateboard around empty pools. That'll be my next show on this channel about the furries. You will not believe it. I couldn't believe the newscaster. He was like, oh, what will the furries do? And I'm like, this is a real thing? It's a true thing.
But hey,
Is
let's
this
take
because
away
we have
homework.
cameras, or are we getting more cruel?
It's really hard. No kidding, everybody. Actually, for the kids that they're so concerned about, those are the kids in my mind are going to suffer the most.
Something else is happening in schools, and that's bullying. We're seeing the video just about everywhere, and it couldn't be more heartbreaking. At a time when social media bullying is skyrocketing, you got a new study showing that proving teens who spend less time online have better mental health. But when it comes to bullying, look at what's going on right now. And a lot of people feel as though this is pandemic related. You could roll some of it in. These kids are getting beat up in school, beat up on the bus. One resulted in a suicide in New Jersey, and they post this online, which makes it exponentially worse. When you're seeing this, it's because we have cameras, or are we getting more cruel?
It's really hard to tell, isn't it? We don't know, are the algorithms serving this stuff up to us because we looked at it once, or is this really happening? My suspicion is it's really happening. It is sad. If someone is manifesting with that kind of aggression, they have to be dealt with a high degree of containment to help them, not to hurt the individual, to help them. This is the thing that is so uncanny about the present moment. You're not allowed to ask anything of anybody. So you can't tell an addict, for instance, who's dying of their progressive disease to come with me, or don't sleep there, or maybe you might want to try something else. You can't say anything to anybody, and that harms people so much. The other thing is the idea that your mental health is enhanced when you're off the screen. No kidding, everybody. I think within 10 years, we will look at these things, these phones, and right here with me in front of the desk, the way we looked at tobacco at one time in the past.
Real quick, Senator Josh Hawley says 16 and under should not be on social media.
Agreed.
Okay.
At least very, very limited. I have lots of friends that actually specialize in screens for adolescents,
right,
and they all do the same thing with their kids. Limit it to an hour, max 2 hours a day.
So you have really tested your relationship. Your wife's producing a show where?
At Dr. Drew TV. It's called Ask Dr. Drew. It's Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursday at 3 o'clock Pacific time, and we've been talking.
Okay, I'm sure his wife. I'm sure his wife's show is fine, but I mean, I have to agree that it's the kids that don't have a developed brain, a developed sense of country, family, friends, and they're on the phone all the time. are hindered. It's hurting them.
I don't even understand why kids get phones so young. I've never understood that.
Alex said we shouldn't baby addicts. Active addiction causes lots of lies and manipulation, and they need tough love. If I say addicts are liars, people get offended, and it's true. I was one. You're telling your own story. And that's when we tell our own story, we're telling our own story. And all right, you guys asked about the furries. All right, these are grown people that dress as animals and they skateboard in empty pools and they have sex with each other. Okay? They have very elaborate costumes. All right, there is a girl. Okay, we talked about Elkhart, Illinois, and that's a terrible thing going on there. You cannot suggest to any child that they're the wrong gender. That is wrong. Okay? The furries are a different problem, and thank goodness they are less than a 1%. And if Greg, get a hold of OJ. Can you please?
OJ or OJ?
Oh no, of course OJ the cat.
He's occupied right now.
He's so damn disrespectful. He turns off the computer. He shut down the laptop. He's done it 4 days in a row.
He's occupied.
Rexy said furries are funny. Actually, they are. They are. And they are elaborate costumes. But when people say, what are furries? Well, these are grown people that wear costumes and they meet with each other.
Do you guys know where like the orgy convention is? Anybody? You know where it is though? Damn, she thick. Yeah. Damn. What the hell? Well, this is scary. Hey, y'all know where like the furry orgy is? That's what we're looking for, bro. That's what I'm looking for. That's what I'm here for. Bro, did you just record us sneaking in? Yeah. Wait, bro. That's a nigga. Look at his hands. And wait, he specifically got a dump truck. That was him who I said gap to. Yeah. Are these guys or girls? No idea. It doesn't matter to you, huh? To me, I don't care. Yeah, you go both ways, huh? Yeah. I like your beard, though. Thank you. Can I touch it? Yeah, go for it. Oh my god, it's like almost like my pews, but like a nicer version of it. Yeah. You like that? It does feel good. Yeah. A lot of the girls do it too, or should I say the guys? Or should I say the furries? Yeah, it occasionally happens. Oh, you know? It's just the Riz, your natural Riz. Yeah. Yeah, I like that. While we're here, I found a bunch of extra N-word passes. We're just gonna hand them out to whoever deserves it the most. Hey man, you look pretty cool.
Thanks.
I like your hat.
Oh yeah, thank you. I got this at a con.
What does that say? Swag?
Pony swag. It's from Harmony Con.
Shit, that's epic. I like your collar too.
Oh yeah, thank you.
Where'd you get that?
So this I got on Amazon, but there are people selling very similar ones in the dealer's den downstairs. I got a lanyard that I just got. But yeah.
Since you have so many cool things, I'm gonna add to your collection. You have one more cool thing. The N-word pass. You only get 3 uses this year though, all right? So use them very wisely, okay?
I do not know how to respond to that.
You don't have to respond. Just save it for one day.
Right, you're right.
You want to take a picture with me?
Yeah, sure.
Yeah, let's do one real quick.
Yeah.
Oh, nigga on 3, 1, 2, 3.
I don't feel right doing that.
Oh yeah. It's just a joke.
I don't feel right.
I'm just messing with you. You get the N-word pass for being so cool.
Yes.
Yeah, there you go.
The fuck is going on here? We saw this in Coachella, California, and I was like, what in the hell is going on? My husband's like, are you these costumes are so elaborate though. They live in their parents' basement and steal lunch money for months to get these costumes. And then they hang around people who failed at life, and they're like, we're all going to dress up and smell each other's butts. And if you're the pink fox, you get to get in my business. Slim said X-rated Comic-Con on steroids. Yep. Yeah. I mean, does anyone have and you can tell me, I'll still love you. Does anyone have an animal costume in your closet?
No.
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 Cash all three of those in right now.
I mean, no one's gonna know.
No.
Well, have a good one.
I'm black.
Oh, yeah, you are black.
Half and
Yeah.
half?
Yeah, half and half. Wait, then that means you get half the card. It's because you're already black, so you just needed half it to validate
Are you gonna say the first half or the last half of the word?
it. Oh. Oh yeah. Oh, he get down low, or she. I don't know. Oh, hey! You get some treats for that one. You get some treats. Yeah. Make it rain. Yeah.
Okay, so when you come across a furry, they have like certain apparatuses on their mask and everything that they act like animals, okay? Grandma Bunny says, I hand out stuff to my kids on my birthday in it. Oh, how cute. But they will drink out of a water bowl. They will eat like animals. And it's like Jules at Red Lobster when she gets her frozen margaritas. It's a hot mess.
You want a doodle?
A doodle? Oh, yeah.
I drew the Among Us.
You get the N-word pass signed by me.
Don't worry, I've been given several. I don't use them.
Oh, you don't use them?
No,
You just stacking them up, bro?
pretty much.
Damn, I guess there's another one. Are you white?
Huh?
You're white, right?
Yeah.
Oh, I got it. I got y'all. Y'all get the N-word pass.
Okay, in another episode, this guy who is white, I mean white as my ass, that's never seen the sun, tells this guy he's black. And he's like, well, I'm giving you an N-word pass. Okay. He goes, well, you're telling me you're black? He's like, oh yeah, I'm black. I identify as black. You can't identify as black. We all know colors. You just can't be black. If my friend Gina was here right now, she would lose her shit. Gina's black and from Cleveland. She'll tell you what black is. She's like, no, you can't be black. She is so offended by white people wanting to be black. Slim inherited the N-word pass. Your family is effed up. Okay, transracial. Yeah, exactly, Aaron. Yeah, exactly. Yeah, that doesn't work that way. I mean, according to these people, you can be 11 years old and you can be a boy with a period, and you can be a white person and be black. I don't understand it. Trevor, can you help me here?
No, I'm pretty lost. When I go check off what race I am on the boxes, usually it's always stayed the same.
Mhm.
You know, I'm half Indian. That's about all I got. Tomorrow I won't be half German. I'll leave that to the Germans. I'm not going to be half Native American. It's just not me.
Mhm.
Half Indian. That's me. I'm half white, half brown, and that makes kind of white, kind of brown. That's me.
Yeah, I mean, I'm very special because when I check a box, it just basically says nothing. Caucasian, white. That means you're nothing. You're Heinz 57 here in America. That's what I get. And I live in Oklahoma. My dad used to pick on my mom all the time and say, "Wow, I should have checked your teeth to find out if you were Indian first." Because Indians have great teeth. That's just how my dad talked to my mom, and she laughed about it. But you can't claim to be an African American when you turn red in the sun. When you have to put Noxema on your damn nose, you can't claim that you are more pigmented. Alex said, can men menstruate? Yes, they can. According to a school counselor in Elkhart, Indiana, they can. They can. Yeah.
No, look at her first comment about when you Google it. That's crazy. That's what she's referring to.
Yeah. And yeah, exactly. If you look at the school counselor in Rome, New York, she said, absolutely. Boys have periods all the time.
Oh, no, they don't.
And I'm like, what?
No,
How can a boy?
no, they don't.
Now, I know a grown man in Gloversville, New York that might have a period, but I'm not going to say any names.
That'll be $5 to find out.
$5 to find out. Glenjamin said it's a magic trick. It is.
I'm mixed.
Oh, you're mixed? Y'all Mexicans, y'all can just share though. Yeah. Oh, he did? Bro, give him one. Split it. Yeah, there you go. Is that a tail between your legs? Or are you just excited to see me? You got it. Oh no, he's dead. Do you have a fish in your ass or is it a tail?
It's a
General,
tail.
just a question.
It's a tail.
Oh, it's a tail. Okay, I thought like it was like a fish eating your ass or something like that. That would be nice. Oh no, it's fine. But I have something better instead. You get an N-word pass. Yeah, you can say it 3 times this year though. Only 3.
Valid for 1 year.
Yeah.
Huh? Yes.
Did she just steal my bit? Oh. How about this, huh? You like it?
Oh, I didn't get one.
Hey, you want one?
I'm looking at more at that one. The
Oh, okay. I was just gonna say, if you want one, I'll get you one. All you gotta do is send me a picture. Oh, you don't run that way? What about? Ooh, how does this?
I'm good.
You don't want it?
No, I'm good.
Are you sure?
Yeah, I'm sure.
Oh, you want a different color? I can get you these.
No, I'm good. Trust me.
Are you sure? Positive.
Yes.
You don't miss out.
Yeah, pretty positive.
No risk. No risk. Look what you just found. What the fuck? Is that a bat? Wait, try to go on there.
I need a lanyard.
Take one for the team. See if it works. Good luck, soldier. No fucking way. No. This nigga actually got in. Fuck it.
I need your match.
I'm Team Booty. I'm Team Booty. I'm with Team Booty.
That's the table?
Yeah. I'm with Team Booty. Yeah, Team Booty.
What's Team Booty?
Oh, like I'm with the Team Booty.
Right.
Let me go back up there and I'm gonna see what's.
I have them coming down. Please stay.
Oh, okay. So we just walk away. The niggas just walked away.
Your badge?
Oh, I'm Team Booty.
Yeah, but where's your attendance badge?
Where can I go get one? I was just given
You
this.
have to register.
Where do I go?
Outside. No, he was given this badge.
I was given a Team Booty badge
From
one of the guys up there.
one of the guys up there.
To save you guys from wasting your time, this dude basically spent an hour just escorting us around the convention to security, and he eventually kicked us out. I hope you guys somehow enjoyed that. This is probably our most mid video we've ever put out, but next week's video is a banger.
Oh, I enjoyed it. From the LA Times. Sanitary napkins are given to girls in class if they, something's going on. Obviously, that would be their monthly cycle. But also for boys, for extra comfort in case they start to menstruate. Part of the reason is because they don't want the girls to feel embarrassed when their other classmates don't menstruate at the same time they do. If my son ever came home and said, I was given a maxi pad at school, I would have a huge problem with this. Anyone else think that might be a problem with today's youth?
If that's an issue for them, wait till they go to labor and delivery and find out there's only women laying in the beds waiting to have a baby.
Mm-hmm. Wait until they go to the military when there's men and women separated, or when they go to jail. I'm telling you right now, nobody in jail gets a maxi pad. Glenjamin said, no, that won't happen. Just Me said it could be girls that identify as boys. I don't know. I guess we should, rewind time. And like I said, my son was a dinosaur. I should have said, you know what? When he wears his T-Rex costume, you have to let him do whatever he does. Glen Falls, New York. They are teaching in biology that boys can menstruate. How does that happen?
In Glen Falls?
Yeah.
They're really teaching in Glen Falls?
Yeah, how can that happen? How can that happen? I was very happy to get rid of my uterus, but if they want it, they can have it. Grandma Bunny said, nah. Yeah, this is what we're coming to. That cannot happen.
In Glen Falls are really doing that?
Yeah. If anybody wants to grab the link and explain biology to me, you can, because I don't know what the hell's going on here. I'm very disappointed with Elkhart, Illinois. I cannot believe that they're telling WIS said it's for equality. There you go. Portland, Oregon. They are teaching sex ed, that everyone has similar parts. Well, they're going to figure that out on their own, and they're going to be real surprised. And it looks like, considering the cities that we're looking at, it's a thing. It's a thing. Slim said, my mouth runs faster than my fingers. I'd get a strike. Don't worry about it. Don't worry about it. Misty Dew is Misty Doo is a big old liar here. Misty Doo said she's never met a 40-year-old on this earth, met a biological male with a uterus. Well, not according to what things are saying right now. You can have it all. Hell, you don't have to have a uterus to menstruate. It's the weirdest thing. Glenjamin said, but if a girl is menstruating and doesn't have anything, it's the right thing for the school to provide something, a school nurse or whatever. Oh, that's absolutely right. Yeah. And they should. I mean, you never know what's going to happen, and you have something for her. But you don't offer it to the boys. That's just me. That's just me.
Yeah, I remember when I was a substitute. I did have a girl one time at the end of the day have hers. But you know what? None of my boys ever did. Weird, right?
Yeah. And if you're a smart girl, when you're in class, you would use that period as excuse to be out of class for a while. Think smart. You just say, oh, do you have anything? And the teacher would be like, oh yeah, okay, yeah, I do. And then you'd walk out of class and you could be gone for the rest of the hour if you didn't like the class. And nobody could think smart. Get in the business world. This is extremism. It's totalitarian, and it's disgusting. And some people are born with both organs, and that's got to be you got to pick which one. That's not a common thing. Slim said, I'm 50. My school never handed out freebies. Cost me a nickel for a granny pad. Isn't that the shits? Leaper Middle School, yeah, you had to put 10 cents in the machine. Absolutely nuts. And now they're handing them out to people who don't need them. I don't know what to do. I mean, Trevor, this is your world now. This is your generation. I mean, we have passed the torch. What's going to happen? Give me your synopsis for what's coming up. I'm 47. Slim said she's 50. Anybody wants to put their age in there? Tell me. And what's going to happen? We have cancel culture going on left and right. If you don't like something, you can attack it and it's gone. You can't just simply turn it off anymore. It has to be a thing. So what do you think is going to happen, Trev?
Well, we keep going this way. We're going to have a very uneducated society, based on what we first talked about. Mm-hmm. We're going to have everybody having to think the same way or be silenced. Cancel culture. Mm-hmm. And then we're going to have a bunch of people running around in furry costumes, getting off to each other, because that's what we do here.
I prefer the furries over the other shit, to be quite honest. The furries are actually funny. They're entertaining to watch.
Yeah. But right now, they're just adding to the mess if we put it all together.
Yep, I agree. Aggie is 60. My beautiful Aggie. Jules is 52. Jules just had a birthday. Rexy, you're 67? You look younger than me. Did anybody see on my Facebook today where I put up a picture of Martha Stewart? How does she look 23? That's some good East Manhattan plastic surgery. Dolores said, yep, you brought your own in my school, or you could go the nurse. Yep, that's what happened when I was growing up. And also, it was a private thing. It was, you would sneak out of class, say, can I have a hall pass? And the teacher was annoyed, and they're like, get out of my desk, because, they didn't want to be bothered. And then you would get it, and you would go down, and you would see the secretary, who was pissed off because she'd been lied to all day by kids saying that they were sick or, whatever. And then you would see the school nurse, and she was like, okay, but just make sure you bring your own from now on. That's how it went. But now it's a different story. It's a different story. Everyone gets the same grade in California, Illinois, and New York. Everyone has a period in California, Illinois, New York. And there's no honor classes in certain states, and it's disgusting, and I don't understand it. But it is what it is. By the time they get done messing everything up, I will be somewhere else, you know. I'll be dead by then. But I do worry about my children, my grandchildren. I do wonder how this is going to move forward. And that's what I worry about. And I really hope that responsible people that have work ethic and they want people to excel, I really hope that they stand up and show up to school board meetings, the polls, which are very important. I hope they vote in every election. And I hope they voice their opinion, not on social media so much, but in other places. We're looking at you, Trev. You're going to save us all.
I don't know about that. I don't know about that, but something needs to change, or we're going to just keep going downhill.
Yeah.
And when
And
downhill becomes uphill, then we got a problem.
And tomorrow's Good Friday. Oh, Easter's coming, and my goodness. My suggestion is enjoy the good things in life. Control what you can control in your own home. But if you have a school district that is giving maxi pads to boys, stop it. Do what you can do to stop it. If you have a school district that is suggesting to children that they're the wrong gender, stop it. Do what you can do to stop this insanity. I mean, all you can do is run what's in your own home. Trev muted himself.
Sorry, the school bus was coming through. Got pretty loud.
Oh, it's fine. All right, guys. Well, I'm going to shut this down. I'm so glad we went through this, and I think there's going to be more of what's going on with the educational system. We haven't even gotten to Oregon yet. Oregon's got some crazy stuff going on, and so does Washington.
Mm-hmm.
Start at home, and your property taxes, whether your kids go there or not, still fund the schools. So let's figure something out there. Oh, Bunny's here. Hello, Bunny. What's going on? Oh, she dropped out. Okay, Misty said, Trevor, we are depending on your generation. How old are you, Trevor?
21.
21. Okay, so our life is in your hands. Please do better.
Okay.
We all depend on you, Trevor. We do. And the good thing is, like, everyone in this chat is responsible, has great kids, great grandkids, you know, doing the right thing. These people, I can't do anything with. There's nothing to do. Nothing to do. I don't pay taxes in their county. You know, everything's county by county base in this country. Dolores said, no pressure, Trev. No, not all.
Yeah, really.
We're all depending on you, Trev. Let's have a round of applause for Trevor. Grandma Bunny, if you want to grab the link again, come on up. And let's make sure Trev guides the next generation to take care of us. Make sure you build up Social Security for us, too.
We'll do it all.
Thank God. All right. Well, I'm going to shut this down and we're going to continue this conversation because I think it is very important. And if you guys are in, I'm always in. You in, Trev?
I'm in.
All right. Then I will see you guys tomorrow on the Members Live on the other channel. You have a great day.